Unscripted.
Sony seems to have a firm grasp on exactly what they're doing and exactly what they're bringing to the table for next generation. And now they've come out making some pretty incredible announcements regarding the PlayStation 5. And this is some pretty cool stuff because, you know, it's very rare for a company to actually take some fault when it comes to some things. So it's really cool to see them actually take some fault for the past while also be very positive and optimistic about the future and exactly what they're going to be bringing to the fans and stuff like that, because I do feel like, you know, as a whole, we're the gamers, you know, we're the ones that are supposed to be getting the, you know, the great games and the great features and all that kind of stuff. So it is very interesting to see how these kind of things play out, and I have to say it's very promising and pretty cool to see Sony come out, especially Sony's had Jim Ryan come out and say these things, because at the end of the day, you know, we are the consumers and we're the ones that are actually, you know, buying these things and spending our hard-earned money on these things. So again, very cool to see, and I think this is going to be a very fun video to sort of talk about and stuff like that. There was a couple different things that I wanted to cover, both of which happened to be in an interview on Game Industry Biz with PlayStation's Jim Ryan. So one of the interesting parts was about the PlayStation 5 and, you know, talking about the previous lineups, and he had some pretty incredible stuff to say. Jim Ryan believes that the launch lineup for the PlayStation 5 is unlike anything Sony's offered at launch in recent generations. In this interview, he praised the launch lineup of the PlayStation 5 and noted that part of the huge demand for the upcoming console comes partly from the strength of the games that will be available on the hardware day one. Now think about this, guys. I'll get into the quote in a second, but he's saying that people trust PlayStation. People really love PlayStation, and they give PlayStation, you know, credit, and they give PlayStation that, you know, that little bit of extra, you know, we believe in you. We trust you're going to deliver what we're wanting and what we're asking for. So again, I think that that's something that a lot of people probably don't do with Xbox. And I'm not really knocking Xbox. I'm just saying that trust isn't there because Microsoft obviously hasn't been around as long in terms of the games business. But also, you know, that trust that they're going to deliver the quality content isn't there as well, because let's face it, outside of any game that Microsoft has had that's been a success, maybe aside from Forza, has been stuff that they bought. You know, they even bought Halo, they bought Gears of War. The games that they've had that were successful, they didn't really build themselves, you know, so do they really have that, do we give them that leeway as fans to say we trust what they're doing? I don't think they've earned that yet. So this is what Jim Ryan said. He says, it's probably not widely appreciated or understood to what extent that we have grown our own game development capabilities organically over the course of this generation. Obviously, it's been helped by the acquisition of Insomniac Games, and it's wonderful to have them as part of the family. I would just invite anybody to look at the launch lineup of the PlayStation 4 generation or PS3 generation and compare it to what we're going to be bringing in the equivalent phase of PlayStation 5. There's just no comparison. Sure enough, a first-party lineup consisting of Demon's Souls, Marvel, Spider-Man Miles Morales, Sackboy: A Big Adventure, and the packed-in Astro's Playroom certainly looked better than the last two generations of launch lineup. If you guys remember, a big reason I didn't get a PlayStation 4 at launch was the lackluster launch lineup, which was, I believe, Killzone Shadowfall and Knack. So they really cover it here as well. It says the PS3 came with Resistance, Fall of Man, and Motorstorm, and the PS4's day one offerings included Killzone Shadowfall and Resogun. They don't even mention Knack, and I can't say I blame them. He also notes that the lineup we'll be seeing on November 12th or November 19th, depending on your region, is no accident and is in fact a result of an international Sony strategy. He says that is the fruit of not massive spending sprees, but a very, very steadily, carefully planned organic growth. We've been working on this for years and years, very quietly in a PlayStation way. We've been building something quite special with these studios. You could do it with frenzied acquisitions or measured acquisitions, or you can do it organically. I like that he's taking a shot right there, it looks like, at Xbox with frenzied acquisitions or measured acquisitions. Like, I think that's clearly a shot at Microsoft. It almost seems like, it even says so in the article, it almost seems like a pop at Microsoft and the company's recent record-breaking acquisition of ZeniMax and Bethesda. Ryan and PlayStation don't seem fazed by the deal. In fact, Sony seems more confident than ever. And Jim Ryan says, and I quote, "We are increasingly bullish in terms of the number of people that we think may engage with PlayStation 5. He tells Game Industry Biz that they're starting with 100 million gamers and we hope to transition very, very rapidly onto PS5 from PS4. So obviously, it looks like Sony is actually trying to say that they believe that they're going to hit that 1 million seller going into the next generation. So that's their goal right now, is to hit 100 million sold, and I think that's a very reachable, attainable goal. In fact, every PlayStation, with the exception of the PlayStation 3, has been able to achieve that 100 million mark, and I think that's really cool to actually see that kind of come about, and that's really cool to see, you know, that Sony is kind of leaning towards that as well going into next generation, because it's very, very important. What has taken PlayStation CEO by surprise in types of people who are sending emails? Okay, so this is the thing. Over the past few weeks, PlayStation head Jim Ryan has received more than his usual share of emails. From the moment PS5 sold out, within minutes, there's been people clamoring to get a hold of one for launch, and who better to help get them than the guy who's in charge, right? It's not surprising, but Ryan has been around for every launch of PlayStation there's ever been. He's used to it. But what's taken him by surprise are the types of people who are sending the emails. And he says, and I quote, "Since the pre-orders went live, every day I open my inbox to some very emotional and heart-wrenching emails from lots of people. But so many of them are from people in the mid-50s who say they've been a PlayStation gamer since 1995, and they're asking us to help them get a hold of a PlayStation 5. He says, "I'm astonished at the number of people who are like that and writing to me. It's really taken me back. It's indicating that demographically the age profile is expanding rapidly with each generation. And at the same time, I get emails from really young gamers, frequently beautifully written, better written often than the 53-year-old gamers. They're just as passionate, just as interested, and just as excited by PlayStation as somebody who is old enough to be their father, maybe even their grandfather." So Ryan isn't really gloating about this popularity of PlayStation brand. It's actually part of a conversation about how PlayStation 5 might be able to outsell PlayStation 4, which has now shipped almost 114 million consoles worldwide. And Sony CFO Mr. Hiroki Totoki said during the company's second quarter earnings call that the company is committed to surpassing what the PS4 has achieved. So that's not going to be something that's easily done, obviously. So, but I do think that, you know, as we do get older, the average age for gamers kind of goes up a little bit, because I think the average gamer age is like 35 or 36 now, you know, right around sort of my age, to be quite honest. And it grows like that because if you go back that many years, that's when the NES and everything was really popular, and we started to see, you know, the way that a lot of these things kind of panned out or whatever. But I do have to say that it's incredibly interesting just to see how all this stuff kind of is going to pull off, and how Sony's going to be able to get out there and get ahead of this stuff and make the necessary moves to really, you know, get out there and sort of get people to switch over fast. And I do think that a lot of the exclusives that are coming are going to really sort of help that out as well. So again, very interesting stuff. Very cool to see Jim Ryan come out there and kind of talk about this stuff. And like basically it wasn't really just that stuff, but he also said the second is that the PS5 has been built as a network device with features and functionality coming out of the experience from the last 6 or 7 years, designed to give networked gamers a better, richer, deeper, faster, more seamless network gaming experience. I'm sure you've seen the PS5 UX unveil, which is very difficult to do remotely, but I think the guys did a pretty good job. All those adjectives that I used just earlier, they were in mind when we designed the UX. Install base isn't the only measure of success for PlayStation 5, but it certainly is an important one. There's still that goal for the PlayStation 5 to outsell PS4, and it's going to be a challenge. PS4 may have arrived on the back end of a disappointing PS3, but it also launched while its direct competitors Microsoft and Nintendo were floundering. Jim Ryan also says expanded demographics and stickiness of the PlayStation experience is one way in which it'll bring more customers, but there are other opportunities as well. He says a lot of work that we've done with female protagonists in gaming, we'll definitely see that resonating and resulting in increased presence of the female demographic within the PlayStation community. And there's obviously geography. The PS4 generation saw us make huge strides in Germany and the Middle East, and I think there's further progress to be made in both those areas. But equally, I think Asia, outside of Japan, has huge potential for us, and Latin America has huge potential for us as well. So again, he's really kind of pushing this idea that the PlayStation 5 can and in fact will absolutely be able to surpass the PS4. He had some really interesting stuff to say. You know, unfortunately, we are in a global lockdown or whatever. He says, obviously our eyes and our horizons have lifted with regards to what's possible with the PS4 community based on what we've observed over the last 6 months, referring to the increase in players as a result of the lockdowns. That can be quite powerful because in 2021, 2022, the PS4 community that we've spoken about, that will be the vast majority of people on PlayStations during the time. It's a crucial thing that we keep them engaged and happy, and the last 6 months have demonstrated that we could do that to an extent that we didn't think possible when we're sitting our minds pre-pandemic. So again, they really do have a lot of interesting stuff going on, and this is a really fascinating interview, just a really kind of heartfelt interview. Nice to see him go out there and kind of take charge and kind of take the reins, what's going on at the PlayStation world. And again, I'll link all this stuff so you guys can check it out. I'm Crapgamer. This is Crapgamer Reviews. Please take care of each other. Stay safe, happy, and healthy. Take a minute to consider subscribing, or at least give me a simple like. It's free for you, and it means a lot to me. So thank you so much. Rack 'em up. Game on, my friends. Game on. Crapgamer out.
Unscripted.